Okay. Sorry, sweetie. All right, put this on. And if it's too loud, you'll tell Zach.
Yeah, just a little bit down. Ah! It's happening. That's good.
It's okay.
Come more. You could bring that closer to you if you want to. You can bring the water to you if you want to.
Okay.
It's okay. Good. Welcome back, and thanks for sticking with me. For those just tuning in, this is WPWL 103.7 FM, Polling Public Radio, live from the Rush Studio here in Polling. And this is Marcy's World. I'm your host, Dr. Nancy Iankowitz, here with a very special guest. But before I introduce her, just a few words about the focus this morning. As Marcy's World listeners, you know how I feel about mind, body, spirit, wellness, and self-healing. Validation is a very important experience for the spirit in order to open the mind and the body to heal. And when we connect with something that resonates with our spirit, we feel validated. And that happens at a very early age. Children feel vibrations, and these shape them. Sometimes a developing youngster, as early as a toddler, and then through to adolescence and beyond, demonstrates an affinity for some expression, a talent, maybe dancing, drawing, painting, or even watching bugs, being patient to observe birds and commune with nature. This segment is dedicated in part to helping awaken parents of youngsters to the early signals so they can encourage and facilitate the healing journey. Life is a healing journey. So when kids have difficult vibes at home, sometimes they don't feel validated. Even if you think the vibes are fine, and they may be fine for 2 of your children, but not for the third, that's when it's time to help kids have a creative outlet. And if the child has a creative outlet, self-healing through self-validation can begin. So I'm very excited to have as my guest, Marian Grudko, whose bio I'm going to read in a moment. She and I will be discussing how we can encourage our children to heal through their hobbies and passion, how parents can help their children find their passion, and how Marian's writing helped her through her own crisis 20 years ago. Marian Grudko is an author, composer, storyteller, pianist, editor, and book shepherd, which we're going to talk about. Her musical tales include Lucinda Snowdrop, Dragonfly Bog, and Harriet, the Story of a Praying Mantis. All of Marian's compositions include music for dance. In addition to her original tales, Marian has written scores for 3 Beatrix Potter tales, and her performance of the Beatrix Potter Afternoon at the Actors Institute in New York City was an editor's pick in Time Out New York magazine. Marian's musical tale, Lucinda Snowdrop, is now an illustrated book. I had the pleasure of seeing this performance. Oh my gosh. Keep looking for Marian Grudko, that name with Lucinda Snowdrop, if you can ever observe a performance or even just try to find it online. It's fabulous. It's an illustrated book, Lucinda Snowdrop, and it's currently on display inside the Book Cove in Polling and available wherever books are sold. So thank you so much for joining me, Marian.
Hi, Nancy. It's great to be here.
I'm so glad. Before we get into these topics and discuss how you were inspired by Beatrix Potter and Rachel Carson, I'd like to know more about what a book shepherd is and how you help people along these lines.
Okay, a book shepherd is kind of like a producer of a play. What I do is I will talk to an author. I can talk to them from the very kernel of an idea where I will help them form what it is that they want to say. Or if they have an already written manuscript, I can edit it for content. I do the editing.
Mm-hmm.
I can do line editing, and then after that there are the next necessary steps to take in the creation of a book: the design, the formatting, the printing, the publishing, and the distribution. And I oversee all of that. I will assemble a team for the various parts of that of those steps that I can't do, and there you go. But I oversee everything, and I'm kind about it, but I'm also ruthless in that I want everything to be right.
Well, that's the way to do something. You're a perfectionist, I guess. So
Yeah.
if there are any authors or budding or aspiring authors or people who have things they want to publish out there, how can they get in touch with you?
They can write to me, which would be the simplest way. My email is my name, MarianGrudko @gmail.com, MarianGrudko @gmail.com. And if you forget how to spell it, you can go into the book cove and ask for Lucinda Snowdrop. It's on the cover.
And so people can write in the subject line, I'm looking for a book shepherd, I guess, so that if something goes into spam, you'll know to pull it out.
You could, yeah, like that, or you could just write help on the subject matter. I'll write back to you as soon as I can.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So, Marian, from your perspective, how can we encourage our children to heal through their hobbies? And do you have any recommendations for parents?
I think kids need, as the saying goes, it takes a village, and more than yourselves as parents, more even than the aunts and the cousins and the siblings and all the well-wishers and people who take care of the child. You need to expose the child to other adults, teachers, private teachers like piano lessons or art lessons. I think that some of the most influential people in my life have been other adults that I met along the way who taught me something and maybe saw something in me that they encouraged.
So when we see our children keeping time to music or dancing or singing as they do things, I guess these are different ways that we can pick up on our children and see where their passions lie. And then maybe if somebody likes acting out TV commercials, or they watch Peter Pan and they start jumping around like, some character, I guess we can get them into the school play and see if they have an affinity for that sort of thing. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You want to watch what they respond to. But there's another side to that, which is that sometimes what you're offering your child and what you like may not be what that child will eventually want to spend their life at. And so I recommend that you move outside of your own comfort zone, in that you look for other things you may not do or partake of in your daily life, and expose your child to those. Like my parents were not classical musicians, but they bought me a piano. They bought classical music records. They exposed me to all these different things, and they took me to the ballet. They took us to museums. So whatever it is, that there might be a key, there might be a lock inside a child, but if you don't offer them a variety of keys, you'll never find what can open them.
That is so important. Sometimes parents can push their dreams that were unrealized onto their children, and even if their children excel at ballet or whatever, it may not be where the children have an interest. So some people can be good at something, but they don't necessarily love it. So picking up on what the kids love or exposing them to see if maybe they would like something, that's really, really important.
Yeah.
So how did Lucinda Snowdrop help you through a difficult time in your life?
It's funny, every time somebody asks me a question about Lucinda Snowdrop, I feel like she has an existence, that she's alive. She's there.
That's how Doyle felt about, was it Sherlock Holmes? He felt that he was alive, and he took on a life, and then everybody yelled at him when he tried to kill him off. It was terrible. But all right.
Well, he did revive him in a very unlikely way, but he did.
So how did Lucinda help you?
Many years ago, I had been working on ballet scores to the Beatrix Potter tales, and I decided I wanted to write a story that would be entirely my own, the music and the text.
Mm-hmm.
So I started thinking about various themes, and then my grandmother got sick, and this devastated me because she was such a rock in my life. The only thing I could think about was that she had to get better. It was unacceptable.
Okay.
That she would not.
How old were you?
I was an adult. I was a young adult at the time.
So emotions have no age.
No.
Emotions are what they are. Okay. So
absolutely.
chronologically, you were an adult, but emotionally very attached to your grandma. Okay.
Well, my grandma was more than a grandma to me. She was my friend.
Mhm.
She was a kind of person who was timeless. She used to do funny things that only kids would do, but she would pretend that she would never do such a thing. She would say, "This is what I would do if nobody were here," and then proceed to do it. So
she really shared some special stuff with you.
Yeah, she was definitely Peter Pan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I could not lose this because I think I was in some ways older than she was. I said, "Grandma, you can't do that here."
Oh, so you were more of the adult at that moment.
A little bit. And but we had such a good time together. And yet she was also the traditional grandma where I'd come home from school and there would be the cookies, like the Toll House cookies on the table and all sorts of other warm, welcoming things. She would knit. She made the most gorgeous quilts. Oh my God, you would love those. I still have most of them.
So these are the ways you connected with her.
Yeah.
So your grandma stepped out of what should have been her generational norm and made you feel that you were sharing a very special part of her spiritually, and you felt very safe with her. And I think that's how adults can help the children in their lives to connect with them. So clearly, she impacted you in the most wonderful way because she was a loving, caring, sensitive, sharing, open, accepting adult in your life.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the key word that you used was safe. And she was the one I would run to when my mother was mad at me. She was the one who I would run to tell about the pain in school.
Oh, so you really were able to open up to her in a very, very special way. So she's spiritually just like a soul sister.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I had not thought of it in those terms, but essentially I must have felt that. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's very validating. And I think that's a very healing thing because that, even if you didn't feel validated by some of the other important adults in your life, a teacher or a parent, you, I guess, it sounds to me, if I'm hearing you right, felt validated by your grandma.
I never again thought of it as in that word, but it's exactly right. That's what it was.
I appreciate that resonates with your spirit. You know, for those just tuning in, we're here on WPWL 103.7 FM, Pauling Public Radio, out of the Rush Studio in Pauling. And I'm your host, Dr. Nancy Iankwoods, on Marcy's World, talking with my very, very special guest, Marian Grudko, who's very talented, and we are sharing some important discussions. We're going to take a very short break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about Marian and her discoveries through life and how you can help these to help your children be the best they can be. Be right back. You're great. You're really great. You're terrific. Thank you for sharing that. Maybe we'll just do the holistic thing. You want to do holistic and that promo thing?
Yeah.
And then we'll come right back. This will be a short break because I want to also encourage people to call in if they're streaming live because I gave the phone number like all over the place.
I never completely answered your question.
I know. I did that on purpose.
I'll get to it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's kind of suspense. I've only
Right.
told the story a million times.
No, but yeah, I deliberately cut you off because I wanted them to
Marcy's
stay in
World
this.
is underwritten in part by Holistic and Integrative Healing, bringing functional medicine to the Hudson Valley.
I'm
Learning how to
underwriting my own
understand and
show.
address the unique language of
Sounds
your
good to
body
me.
is the key to healing and
I'm the
wellness.
producer, I'm
For
the
more
whatever.
information, visit our
This was
website,
so cool.
driankowitz.com.
We're gonna do that again.
driankowitz.com. Remember, this is your
Sure.
life. You
We're gonna
deserve
do that
to live
again
in
in
balance and
Sure.
comfort.
And welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I'm here with Marian Grudko. It's WPWL 103.7 FM Poland Public Radio out of the Rush Studio. You're on Marcy's World right now. Marian, I want you to hold up that book again for the Facebook viewers. Right there. Yes, that's Lucinda Snowdrop. Hopefully it doesn't look like it's in reverse. I don't think it will. I think that it'll be fine. But if you want to see it the right way, you go to the Book Cove, because they have it in the window and they sell it there. So, over the break, I admitted to you that I cut you off in the middle of your answer because I wanted everybody to be able to stick with us and hear the rest. So, please continue.
That was a neat trick you pulled. I admire that. You had originally asked me how Lucinda Snowdrop came to be.
Yes, and how she helped you heal. And we were talking about your relationship with your grandma and how adults can earn the trust of their children and how important that is because that helps to validate the children. And validation sets the mind, body, and spirit up for a healing journey through life. So yes, let's hear the rest of the answer.
Yeah, everything you said is yes. Just yes. When Grandma got sick, as I said, it was unacceptable to me, and I did what I always did as a child and as grown up as I'll ever be, which was to turn inward in a creative way, rather than stew or go rigid. I tried to make something happen by writing about it. So I came up with a character, Lucinda Snowdrop, who would take over the job from me because, you just want to do something, but I knew there was really nothing that I could do. So someone had to do something, so I created Lucinda, and by way of dance, she set out to save Grandma. And that was how I worked it.
That's absolutely beautiful, and I remember you discussed that at your performance very briefly. A way we can encourage our children who are young to express themselves is we can give them a special pen or pencil. Kids as young as 6 or 7 years of age, they're generally happy until they're 6, so maybe 7, second grade, and give them a small diary and encourage your children to keep a journal that can be private or a diary, and please don't raid their diary or anything like that. They need to have a sense of privacy. If you do sense that your children's behavior is somehow becoming bizarre at home and you're frightened by it, of course you talk to your pediatrician or you get a mental health provider on your team to help the child. But giving the children the outlet of creative writing or even a blank sketch pad and crayons to help them draw their thoughts and feelings and ideas, that can help too. So you were older and you turned to your creative passion and you created a character to help you out with something that was unacceptable to you in life.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That is what I did. And then it took a life of its own. I wrote the story and I actually talked to my grandma about it as we went along, and she gave me little tips and ideas, and when she had to go to the hospital,